Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey and this is the 2023 Chevy Colorado Trail Boss. This is the budget off-road midsize truck from General Motors, and in this video I'm going to see if this $41,000 Colorado Trail Boss is any better or worse off-road than the nearly $50,000 GMC Canyon AT4 we had out here to Barnwell Mountain just a few weeks ago. Stay tuned. All right, gearheads, we've already had a few of these Colorados on the channel already, and there isn't a lot that distinguishes the Colorado from the Canyon, but I do want to point out some of those differences here in this video. I also want to say a huge thank you to Chevrolet for bringing this vehicle out to us to test here at Barnwell for you, and thanks to the team at Barnwell for letting us film out here. If you're anywhere near Gilmer, Texas and want to see what your vehicle is made out of, come here to Barnwell, have them and kind of check it out. But while we've got the hood popped on this one, I do want to talk some similarities and differences of powertrain, not only to the Canyon we had out here a few weeks ago, but across the Colorado lineup. So while the Canyon gets the same engine across the lineup, the same tune, the same everything, the Colorado goes a slightly different approach. The work truck gets a mechanically different engine that is the least powerful of the bunch. But here in the Trail Boss, we get the Plus engine, the 2.7 liter turbo Plus engine that makes 310 horsepower and 390 pound-feet of torque. It is not in any way mechanically different than the top engine in the Colorado ZR2 or any of the engines offered in the GMC Canyon, because you know the GMC Canyon gets that high output across the lineup, which offers over 400 pound-feet of torque, 430 I do believe. You can take your Trail Boss to a dealer and have them reprogram it, and you can get the same engine tuning as that high output motor, because like I said, there is nothing mechanically different about this engine. It's just the way the tuning is set up, which I feel is just kind of shady in the grand scheme of things. There are no savings with fuel economy. There's really no reason to not put the more powerful engine across the Colorado lineup. But for some reason, Chevy has deemed lower power numbers more important to these lower trims. But like I said, you can get them dealer flashed and still maintain your factory warranty. Closing the hood on the Trail Boss, you can see the perhaps most controversial decision Chevrolet made with the Trail Boss, and that is this entire plastic front clip on this one. There is not a speck of paint on this front clip until you get down to the actual bumper that'll take the brunt of things up front here. But yes, a completely black plastic front grille, which a lot of people are complaining about across the lineup. This is the same front end you would see on the work truck. So this really feels like, in the Silverado world of things, the custom Trail Boss as opposed to the LT Trail Boss. We get halogen lights, halogen turn signals, no fog lights on this one, no red tow hooks. We get some black tow hooks down there. So, you know, it's just not off-road capable if you don't get red tow hooks. But all around, a very interesting design decision up front here on the front of the Colorado. And perhaps something that really separates it from the GMC line is where that AT4 got the Colorado ZR2 kind of cutouts here in the front bumper. We get this lower air dam that runs the entire width of the front of the vehicle that I suspect is going to cause me a few more problems out here than I had when we were out here in that GMC Canyon AT4, just because it's just a little bit less approachable when it comes to your off-road dimensions. Those dimensions are, at least on paper, very similar to what GMC is claiming. So in this Colorado, Chevy claims a 9.5 inch ground clearance, where that Canyon gets a 9.6. So as near as makes no difference, the same. The approach angle is 30.5 degrees as opposed to the GMC Canyon's 33.3, again, due to that front bumper and that large air dam underneath on here. The departure angle is actually better, just ever so slightly on the Colorado at 22.4 versus the Canyon's 22.3. And the breakover angle is, again, essentially the same at 21 degrees as opposed to the Canyon's 20.9 degrees. So really no major differences outside of that front bumper and the approach angle. Again, just interesting choice for Chevrolet on something that they're calling the Trail Boss. Coming down here to the wheels and tires, the standard wheel on the Trail Boss is this 18-inch black glossy wheel wrapped in these Goodyear Wrangler Territory AT tires. They are 265/65 R18s. You can, for whatever reason would strike your fancy, get a 20-inch wheel and tire combo on this, but honestly, I wish they had gone with 17s on the Trail Boss versus 18s. But an 18 is an absolute max that I would go on a vehicle you plan on taking off-road. Due to the smaller wheel diameter, this is a 32-inch tall tire, whereas the 20-inch wheels are 33-inch tall tires. So I guess in the grand scheme of things, you get like a little bit more ground clearance with the 20, but I would really sacrifice that for more sidewall. You can tell out here at Barnwell, we are in some wet, slippery mud, so this may be more of a tire test than an all-around truck test, just to see what this thing is capable of. We do have an Autotrac two-speed transfer case in this one, with 2 high auto, 4 high, and 4 low modes for the 4-wheel drive system. And this is mated to an updated version of the same 8-speed automatic that was in the previous generation. I can tell you that this powertrain combo has not let me down. I haven't even felt the 8-speed automatic shift in the time that I've spent in this and in the GMC Canyon. And even the slightly less torquey version of the 4-cylinder here in this Trail Boss hasn't really left me wanting for power, although this particular one makes some noises that has kind of made me scratch my head just a little. So all you longevity folks out there that are commenting, wonder how long these small engines will last, there is a little bit of an engine tick coming from under the hood, a very interesting electric whine that I can't figure out if it's a fan or has something to do with the turbocharger, but quite interesting there. As we move along the side here, you can see we do not have running boards, though they are an option. And peeking behind that dirty wheel and tire, we'll get a better look on the driver's side, but we don't get any branded suspension. No Bilstein shocks, no Rancho shocks, no nothing back there behind. And Chevy and General Motors is still sticking with the tried and true leaf spring suspension, while pretty much everyone else in the segment pretty much has gone to coilovers even in the rear. So that is something that sets Chevrolet apart just a little bit. Coming back to the back, just reminding you that this is lower in the trim level. You get fully incandescent turn signals and brake lights back here in the back. Nothing fancy on this truck, but we do get the black bumper that denotes that this is a Trail Boss back here in the back, as well as this cool decal badge right here on the side. Our model does have the damped tailgate with the storage inside. You can open that up and make a cooler out of it, whatever you need. You can also put the cable here, if I can do it one-handed, on both sides, and have a longer bed of sorts, because now the bed top actually lines up with the top of the wheel wells. So you could put longer items in here, which compensates for the fact that you can only get a crew cab short box here on the Colorado, whereas both Nissan and Toyota offer long box options. Coming around to the driver's side, I will note with the suspension, we get a 2-inch lift on the Trail Boss of a standard Colorado, and this plastic over fender here is because the suspension, the stance is actually 3 inches wider on the Trail Boss. Again, all GMC Canyons get that suspension lift and the widened stance. So GMC was actually able to incorporate the width in the metal fenders, whereas because some trims of Colorado don't get it, we get a plastic over fender here on the more aggressive off-road suspension that we get here on the Colorado. And one last look, we'll take a look at the suspension up onto the front. Again, no branded shocks or anything here, though we'll talk a little bit more about it when we're actually driving. I haven't been totally disappointed with the suspension in this thing. Moving to the inside of our $41,000 Trail Boss, you can see we get cloth seats, nothing special here, but we do have a power driver seat with lumbar, which is a nice touch. We do have power windows all the way around, but only the driver gets express up and down, so that's something I just want to call out. These seats are kind of like a denim style cloth material, and you can see they are two-tone. I do appreciate that over them just being solid black or solid dark gray. So I do like the material. I like the contrast of colors. They haven't been a disappointment. They're overall very comfortable seats. I've put quite a few miles on this pickup truck, and I've got no complaints for that overall. We'll talk more as we're driving, but we get the 8-inch gauge cluster on this one. You have to get the ZR2 to get the full digital or fully incorporated 12-inch, and we get an 11.7 infotainment screen. Again, we'll talk about some of the functionality in that when we're actually moving and on the trails. And then coming to the back seats back here, you can see I've got all my gear. It is tight. It isn't so much so that I would step away from a mid-size pickup truck. I think for our family of 3, this is a perfect size pickup truck for us. We don't need a big full size because the back seats in those are just absolutely massive, and Tucker doesn't need that much space. But I will lament the fact that the seat bottom here requires you to lift a lever in order to lift it up when the full-size trucks don't. And then the storage underneath, I'll just go ahead and show you here. Storage underneath is a little bit lacking when it comes to what you can put down here because of this plastic section here that's kind of walls it off. But you can see this limits what you can put underneath here. And then some of the packaging of the jack and different items that are already underneath here from the factory just limit what you can actually put here under the seats. And since we got the Trail Boss with the cloth seats, we don't even get map pockets on the backs of the front seat. So storage in the back is kind of lacking. Even the door pockets only get what is essentially a bottle holder. The same is true when we look up front. And my last small complaint, I know I've gotten spoiled on this one just because it's been a slight bummer every time I go to get in or out of the truck. It gets Chevy's typical proximity key, lock, unlock, and your panic button, no remote start or anything with that. But there is no button out here to lock and unlock it from the vehicle, so you have to take this key out of your pocket every single time. It's a proximity key, it's a push button start, so it's really weird that General Motors would make you take the key in and out of your pocket or purse, wherever you keep it, when they could have very easily just put you a button right there. I don't know how much the hardware costs to add that to pickup trucks, but it's just an odd omission. And while we're talking about odd omissions on this pickup truck, the most odd omission is the lack of underbody protection on this pickup truck. There are no skids underneath this one. In fact, skid plates are optional on this truck. Nearly $1,000, I believe it's $995, gets you a front and a mid skid plate. But as we kind of peek up under here, as it's lifted, you can see there's a little protection around the fuel tank right there. But look underneath this, hardly any protection to vital pieces here on the Trail Boss. Again, Chevy, you're calling this thing the Trail Boss, right? There are some things that you just don't skip out on. Yeah, you could put that plastic front bumper on it, but if you're calling it the Trail Boss, shouldn't you protect the underside of your truck? Another interesting omission as I climb into the driver's seat, all this red dirt and clay out here, well, it just came in with me onto the carpeted floor mats. It's a Trail Boss, Chevy. Like, What is a off-road pickup truck if not something you're gonna take to get dirty? Why are carpeted floor mats the standard floor mat in here? That one's weird to me. Like, do you not know what people are buying these for? Is it simply just to go out and pose in it? I don't think so. Like, I know that's an easy upgrade, and the dealers will absolutely send me some rubberized floor mats, but that should really just be standard with the pickup truck, right? I did joke that this will probably be more of a tire test than anything, just with how wet it has gotten out here lately and how muddy and kind of thick and clay-like this red dirt is. But I'm going to go ahead and put it into for low, which requires me putting it into neutral, letting it switch and get into place. Turns off traction control. And then I'm going to turn the dial here, and we've got several different drive modes. I'm going to put it into terrain because my time in the GMC Canyon really liked terrain, and what that does is it turns on a one pedal braking situation, much like in an EV, so that you really don't have to modulate brake and pedal with that 2-foot method that I'm still not that perfect at, and allows you to kind of feather the throttle a little bit as you're going over obstacles at low speed. But let's go ahead and move out of this precarious situation that I'm in now and head to my favorite little bit of continuity that we have here at Barnwell, and that is taking this pickup truck down Twister. Now, Twister's got a little bit of everything. It tests approach, breakover, departure, ground clearance, and your traction management, which of all of that, the only thing I'm even slightly curious of in this pickup truck is the approach angle and, well, how the tires are going to hold up. So be very interesting to see. I will note that one thing I was really missing in the GMC version of this pickup truck was 360 cameras so that I could see a spotter out and around, because there are certain situations where you just can't see at all. And same is true here. I just see the hood. So really would like cameras, but cameras are not even optional here in the Trail Boss. Again, Trail Boss, it's in the name, right? But as we creep down over here, we're eventually going to slide off the ledge, right? It's here somewhere. There we go. Front driver is about to go down and test that breakover. And then we'll inch down with the back tire. I'm not really worried about departure in this truck because I already know that Canyon made it. And that takes us to this little trail here that I've not really been able to take full-size pickup trucks down. This is why I like mid-size pickup trucks. They're just maneuverable in places that full-size trucks can't make it nowadays. They're just too stinking big. And I really like mid-size pickup trucks. I really would like a mid-size pickup truck in my garage because this actually fits in my garage. Again, another benefit of the size of the platform. There are just some things about this that leave me scratching my head. I've already noted a few of them. Another one I'll go ahead and call to attention while we're lining up for this obstacle here. I have a polyurethane wheel here with some synthetic perforations here on the side, but there's a mold line that goes around the entirety of it, and it just hits my hand wrong every single time. This is a $41,000 truck, and it feels more like a $21,000 truck. It's just slightly interesting. Again, some of the fit and finish offered by Chevrolet here in this pickup truck. I'm not hating on it, just kind of curious. But here we go, testing out the traction. This does have an automatic locking rear differential. It's that Eaton G80 locker, and it senses wheel slip and then will mechanically lock up, but there needs to be wheel slippage in order for it to do it. You can't just default say, lock up, I'm doing something off-road. So it's not my favorite. You saw about what it did back there in the back and what it is capable of doing when there is wheel slippage. Again, these tires are just caked in this red dirt, this red clay. So that is also playing into a little bit of it here off-road. But you can see as we get a little off kilter here, in 4 low, in terrain mode, the vehicle is doing a great job of navigating and negotiating everything that I'm going over. I'm not going to do anything too crazy in this one because, again, we took the GMC Canyon up to the top of Barnwell Mountain, but I do want to do just one more quick test here, and that is testing the articulation of the pickup truck. It is my favorite thing to do out here. I think it is my favorite thing to test in off-road vehicles is articulation, and we've got a pretty sweet spot to do said testing here at Barnwell. A lot of twisting and articulation. The last vehicle we brought out here was a $73,000 Jeep Grand Cherokee Trailhawk 4xe, and it has an adaptive suspension, which I think was almost over engineering for what this trail was throwing at it. I would have preferred just a traditional suspension like what we've got here. And again, yeah, just testing what these tires are capable of in this dirt, in this mud. I can see some pretty thick ruts that I definitely don't want to get stuck out here because it wouldn't be fun. But as far as all the articulation and maintaining traction, this pickup truck is absolutely rocking it when it comes to navigating out here. And then we are out and over. So as far as the off-road ability of this, I will say it is slightly questionable why we have that huge front air dam up front that really diminishes the approach angle versus its cousin over at GMC. But I guess that's Chevrolet wanting you to go up to the ZR2 if you're really planning on doing stuff. But again, Chevy, you're calling this the Trail Boss. There's certain things that are implied with that kind of naming. That is about it for me here in this 2023 Chevy Colorado Trail Boss. I am incredibly grateful for Chevrolet to bring this out to me for Barnwell Mountain to let me come out here and test it. I will say this whole package works for me a little bit better than the GMC Canyon because that one was $8,000 more expensive than this one, and for the most part this one is equally as capable. So if you are really just concerned about having a pickup truck that can go out and do the work, this one will be the one to get at a significant savings, but you're also paying for it on the interior. Cloth only seating, single zone climate, all the plastic in here versus some of the different materials used in that GMC Canyon. Just a little bit interesting, different packaging. Again, when it comes to comparing these to the full-size pickup trucks, I would say this is really more in line with the Silverado Custom Trail Boss than it is with the LT Trail Boss. Interesting that on the Colorado we don't get that dual designation with the Trail Boss. So one more thing I do want to call out before we get too crazy into this one is there is an air down mode. We haven't aired down, we're still at full pressure, but you can set a target pressure and the horn will honk at you when you reach it. You can also go to off-road mode here with, there's Baja terrain and overlanding. Terrain actually gives you the pitch and roll so that you know exactly what the vehicle's doing, which I'm sure from that back camera you're able to see. We're closing in on the max this truck has ever done. Yeah, we just set a new max with an 18-degree roll on this one. You can see at 20 degrees, it's warning us. Probably don't want to push it much further than that with our tilt warning. And definitely a fun vehicle that is very capable. But again, just something to let you know exactly what your vehicle is capable of. Getting this thing out onto the trails, this thing is happy. I am on the main trail, so cars can go down this, but I will say the suspension is doing a great job of soaking up all the bumps and imperfections. We're about to go over a couple whoops here. Let's see what this does. Yeah, like it doesn't upset the vehicle. We don't start bucking like a Bronco in this. It is a very nice system and setup all the way around. This is a very comfortable pickup truck, even at the lower Trail Boss designation. The ZR2 does get those impressive DSSV Multimatic dampers that soak up bumps a little bit quicker and faster with the external reservoirs on them. But I'm not totally disappointed with the suspension here in the Trail Boss version of the Colorado either. And as far as how this thing is built, yes, I've made some complaints about the build materials in here, but the only noise that I am hearing on this rough trail is associated with the fact that I've got my kid's car seat in the back seat. Otherwise, this is a very solid and buttoned down interior with nary a squeak nor a rattle, though yes, there are some nagging issues. If you want to see more reviews like this from us, be sure and hit that subscribe button down below. Ring the bell so you're notified every time a new video drops from us. Go find us on all social media channels: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, TikTok, YouTube. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. Go find our second channel exclusively on YouTube, GT Premium Reviews, where we test some high-end vehicles in full cinematic quality. But as the rain starts to pour out here at Barnwell Mountain, until next time, gearheads, bye. Ooh, ooh. Whee!